Hello anybody, I am Alpaca Patrol, and this is AlpaQ&A! Maybe a bi-weekly series, maybe a monthly series, maybe a weekly, maybe a daily series. Probably not going to be a daily series. Probably not going to be a weekly series either. I don't know. It depends on if you guys like it or not, in all honesty. The questions that I got for AlpaQ&A were multitudinous, as it were. There were a lot of questions, and basically I just wrote them all down here, and I am gonna be, firstly I'm doing the ones that are the most upvoted, because I don't know how long these videos should be, how long you guys actually want to watch this for, so I'm just gonna do the ones that even got upvoted to even 2 votes, and then I just picked out other questions that I like as well, just browsing through them. There were a lot of questions, however a lot of your questions will be answered in like a lot of the questions were kind of repeats, so they will be answered if you're not necessarily the person who asked it. It's usually just the first person who happened to ask it, and it'll go up on the screen. Anyway, let's jump in here and start this shit off. I don't know how to do it. Here we go. I'm just gonna write down the time. What is your best advice to be successful on YouTube, says Dr. Dwe. Okay, best advice, especially if you're going to do something like this in gaming. Pretty much play things that you like. When I first started doing this channel, I started in January of last year, and I just made some Happy Wheels videos with Dennis because I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of it. That's what I did. Because it was easy to do, and we just had a fun time, and we just talked and whatnot. And then, throughout the course of the next, 4 months or so, I played some things that, you know, I didn't really like. I played, The Darkness 2 because it seemed okay, and I know that people were going to watch videos of it, because it had just come out. But I didn't really like it. After that, I decided I'm not going to play anything that I don't actually enjoy playing. So my number one tip is have fun with whatever it is you're doing, because if you're just doing something for the sake of views or something like that, then, you know, nobody's really going to want to watch it. An audience is intelligent, an audience is smart. I think a lot of movies and a lot of media like to pretend that they aren't, but an audience is smart, and they can pick up on those sorts of things. Moving on to the next question, by Luanley1989. If you have to pick one, who from the NLSS crew do you get along with best? And also, is there any chance that you can get together the entire NLSS crew and have, a Binding of Isaac tournament? That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I'm in agreement. Who I like most, I think, there's this guy, oh god, what's his name? It's, Alpaca Patrol. I really like him. He is really a lot of fun. Yeah, you know, you guys should all go hang out with him on his channel, because it is a great time. No, in all seriousness, I mean, yeah, you can't, be like, hey, which friend do you like more? Who would you eat first in the Andes? I don't know. I mean, I like them all. I'm good friends with all of them now, which is cool, which is really, really cool. It's nice collabing on YouTube, because then you get to meet just new friends to kind of hang out with. I don't want to rush through these questions, by the way, but I feel like these videos should be less than 10 minutes. I don't know, it's up to you. This first episode may well be 30 minutes long, I don't know. I feel like these should be 10 minutes long. I'm not really sure, and I don't want to rush through the questions, but I also want to get through all of them. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. And I didn't take down the time of the last one, so I'll have to figure that one out. Emit Dinar asks, will you do Tbois Rebirth gameplay that you will get to Platinum Ghosts, or the other name for that in Rebirth? Yes. Next question. At 413, Fluffy Nails asks, since you are an alpaca, how can you speak perfect English? With great difficulty, in all honesty. You know, it's sort of not very appreciated, human lips, but they really allow you to enunciate things very well. So it's pretty difficult, but it's something that I live with and dream with every single day. K Cunningham04 asks, would you rather play an entertaining game with great graphics but no plot, or a game with mediocre graphics and gameplay but an amazing story? Wait, hold on. I gotta reread that. Graphics, but no plot, or a game with mediocre graphics and gameplay, but an amazing story. You know, that's kind of hard to say. An entertaining game with great graphics, but no plot. You know, it kind of depends on the day, in all honesty. There's something to be said of, like, tech demo-esque games. Like for instance, this isn't a good example, necessarily, because it was also a pretty good game, but Red Dead Redemption, that's a good game to just kind of run around in and just, you know, explore the world. I love just exploring worlds and stuff. That's why I love open world games altogether. Now, if I'm going to judge whether or not it's a good game, I'm not saying Red Dead Redemption. It may be Just Cause 2. I haven't played Just Cause 2, but I know the world is very big and you can just go roam around and just do whatever you want. That's cool. You know, but I heard it's not particularly a good game, per se. I wouldn't say it's a good game on those situations. I don't know. It's hard to say. It really, again, like I said, depends on the day. Sometimes you want something that... Like, I could play a text adventure and have a great time. Like, recently we've been playing The Yogg on Josh's channel, and it's cool. It's really fun. It's, like, basically a text adventure. I love it. I think it's great. Crusader Kings 2, in a lot of ways, that's like a text adventure game. I don't really need good graphics or good, you know, what have you. Gameplay, I say, mechanically, perhaps, to make a good game. Personally, but, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It depends on the day. Moving on! Still Ataratsu, do you believe in life after love? I do. Moving on, Chris Cloudhunter asks, if you could choose between world peace and being a Pokemon trainer, what would be your starter? You know, I like this question for two reasons. One, it already knows my answer to the first part of the question, obviously, being a Pokemon trainer. And this sort of answers other questions, is like, what video game world would you live in? Fucking Pokemon, for sure. I mean, for one, you get to drop out of school at 13 if you wanted to just go, like, travel the world and capture Pokemon and battle and be a badass and, like, be a super world-famous trainer in the Master League and all this shit. It would totally be a Pokemon trainer. That said, if you had a realistic expectation, I don't know, I'd probably go for world peace. I mean, you know, it'd be selfish to say... that I'd want to be a Pokemon trainer if those were the two options. If that meant, like, world peace... Like, here's the thing. If I vote world peace, right, and I get it, then we could probably just create Pokemon. So I'd probably go for world peace. But anyway, what would be my starter? Probably Cubone. I like Cubone a lot. I feel like he's an underappreciated Pokemon. He's really cool. He's a badass, and I like him a lot. And actually, I've played... Pokemon games that I've owned, by the way, so it's not illegal, on a ROM, on emulators. And I gave myself Cubone as the starter and replaced some other starters a couple times, actually. It's a lot of fun. I like doing it. It's a good time. I like choosing my own starter. I like Cubone. He's a badass. Especially with Thick Club, which is this item that doubles his attack power. Doesn't matter. Anyway, moving on. That question took a long time. Simon Major asks, Major? Are you exited for Dark Souls 2? Yes, I am. I really am, actually. I have a weird confession to make. I never actually played Dark Souls 1, but I've watched so many videos. I watched all of Northern Lions' Let's Play series. I watched Man vs. Game play Dark Souls. I watched Day9 play Dark Souls. I watched Lethal Frag play Dark Souls. Not to mention the countless times I watched Josh and all those guys play Dark Souls on stream. So I've watched so much Dark Souls that I feel like I've played that game. So I'm actually really pumped to play Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 2 in order to get into sort of my first real break my Souls game virginity, which I'm kind of pumped for. Which using the word pumped perhaps was not necessarily the best of ideas. Anyway, moving on. Merciless Merc asks, how do you type if your limbs end in hooves? Also, the B in blog is because it is originally called a weblog. So the B is technically from web. Good to know. Good to know. How do you type if your limbs end in hooves? With great difficulty, in all honesty. PTMX Tube X says, can you show us your face? We want to see your alpacaness. Thumbs up, if agreed. Well... You know what's funny? This is one of the most requested things on, like, I get this almost every video, no matter what video it is. Well, that's sort of a lie, but when there's a lot of comments on a video, I usually get this. In this specific question thing, I must have got it like 20 times. In fact, if you search for Alpaca Patrol right now on YouTube, and you see the top search rankings, the #1 thing is Alpaca Patrol face and Alpaca Patrol Rob face. So, apparently it's very important to you guys. So if you really want to see what I look like, here it comes. It's coming right now. There you go. You got it. You excited? You pumped? It was a good time? Okay. Now that we've done that, let's move on. Nom 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 Terrorist 1 week ago asks, how is Cam with the women? Or men, not judging. It's a fair point. You know what's funny is Cam's not bad with women particularly. He is a misanthrope, however, meaning that he's an introverted misanthrope, meaning that he really likes to hang out by himself. Generally, surprisingly, since he actually likes to talk, like I talk with Skype with him, on Skype with him like every day. But he doesn't like to like leave the house. Me in a lot of ways too, despite the fact that I've had a very extroverted life for much of high school. I mean, I used to go out all the time. Now I'm just a fucking hermit. But that said, I mean, you know, I have a fun time going out. I also really enjoy just chilling at home, doing nothing. Yeah, it feels good, man. But yeah, so he's an introverted misanthrope. Misanthrope meaning he doesn't like people. So if he tries, he gets women, but he just doesn't. And in a lot of ways, me either. I just don't really try anymore right now. So, you know, pretty well. And with the dudes, I mean, he's just banging dudes all the time. He's just banging dudes every other day. He's just banging dudes. So, you know, he's having a great time doing that. Next Riss Zandraid says, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. A Gray Phantom asks, Rob, if you could go on a road trip with any 3 people, anyone at all, who would you pick and why? Also, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? 3 people. Bill Murray, George Carlin, and Shizbot. Well, I mean, if there's a Shizbot, I'd probably go with Shizbot. No, Bill Murray, George Carlin. I don't know, the third spot's open, really, for a lot of people. Maybe George Clooney, just round out the Georges. That'd be good. Favorite flavor of ice cream? You know, I don't know. Rocky Road's pretty good. I like it sometimes. Actually, by the way, we've just reached the mark of all of the upvoted questions. So now I'm going to go into the questions that I just picked out that didn't get particularly upvoted. So let's jump in here. Let's jump right in. What is your all-time favorite game? Says 371JL. I don't know. It's hard to say. I would probably say Ocarina of Time, and the reason that I say that is, one, I think it's just an amazing game. I played it so much when I was a kid. And the reason that I say that, it's really hard to say, like with movies, with music, and video games and stuff, it's really hard to say what's your favorite game, or what's your favorite genre of all time. Ocarina of Time, I probably didn't put the most hours in, out of all the games. I mean, probably the most hours I've ever put into a game is probably Dota at this point now, because it's over 1,000. But, you know, it's, the reason I say Ocarina of Time is I like to play it, like, once a year, you know, see how I feel about it this year, and, by the way, Zelda game, in case anyone didn't know, I play it, like, once a year, usually. I play through the whole thing, or, you know, get most of the way through, or what have you, and, you know, I played a lot of Ocarina of Time. I love that game, and I love the series, really, so probably that, if I really had to, you know, answer that truthfully. Muffin Productions TM asks, what kind of music do you listen to? I feel like this is something that a lot of people say. I listen to good music. I really do. I like listening to music that I find good. I'm a man of many tastes. I like a lot of things. I like 90s hip hop. I like some modern hip hop. It depends. I like some underground hip hop, like, you know, not underground. It sounds so hipster when I say that, but you know, like Atmosphere is good. I like Odd Future a lot. They're really cool. I saw them in Los Angeles once, you know, before they were popular. I'm such a hipster. When I talk about music, it's hard to talk about music and not sound like a hipster. Yeah, you know, I like 90s hip hop. I like some modern hip hop. I like rock and roll, early rock and roll, classical music. I'm not so into jazz. I always wanted to get into jazz. I mean, it's not like I dislike it, but I feel like I don't know any of the artists or anything so much. But you know, I like 80s rock. I like a lot of things. Punk rock from the 70s, hardcore. That's always fun from the 70s and 80s, and I don't know, like, you know, Bad Brains, you got some Sex Pistols, there's a bunch of really great stuff throughout history, and if the music is good in any way, I like it, and I listen to that, so, you know, that's cool. My cousin has a band, actually, and they're really good. They're called Urban Sun. I should provide a link down in the description. He's actually not part of the band anymore. Well, there were two of my cousins in the band. One's the lead singer, one's the lead guitarist. Maybe I should, like, play a little clip. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know if I'll edit it in. I could get in trouble, but I don't think they would have a problem with it. But yeah, Urban Sun, they're cool. They're really cool. They're like funk, modern funk mixed with kind of hip-hoppy kind of vibes. They're cool. Anyway, I really like them. Know a lot of their songs. Anyway, let's go to the Paranova X. How did you come up with the name Alpaca Patrol? I'll read the rest of there's a couple questions in here. How did I come up with the name Alpaca Patrol? Well, because this was asked so many times, I felt like this would be a good place to answer the question. It was a cold, dark night in 1944. My grandfather was overseas in World War II when a charming alpaca came along with the Nazi patrols. They had been using the Nazi alpacas as minesweepers. My grandfather rescued... No, seriously, like, there's straight up... I was bored one day, and the two words just popped in my head. I just heard in my head, Alpaca Patrol. And I liked it, so I kept it. I made a YouTube channel. It was very spontaneous. Like I said, when I first made the channel, it was actually going to be me and Dennis's channel. So, you know, it was initially going to be a co-op channel with me and Dennis, and you know, he ended up not wanting to really do it or do it as often as I wanted to do it. So I just took over the channel, and you know, that's it, really. I came up with a name. I thought it was cool. I thought it also had a nice ring to it, you know. I also don't like Let's Play channels that have, like, gaming or gamer or games in the name. Not to say anything about Mathis Games or Red Panda Gamer. Obviously, they're successful and good YouTube channels. But I feel like it's so, it's so restrictive, right? I mean, like, eventually, maybe I'll be doing educational videos. Fuck, I don't know. It's my channel. I can do what I want with it, really. I mean, I like to, you know, keep myself open. Alpaca Patrol just seems like a nice brand. You can't really use, like, if I said, like Alpaca Games, I can't really use that as, like, now I'm gonna make my cooking network of Alpaca Games. Alpaca Patrol's a nice brand, you know, and it comes off the lips pretty easily. You can find it really easily. If you hear Alpaca Patrol, you heard the words that I said, because there's a lot of plosives in there. I mean, you have, like, 2 P's, you have a C, a T. There's so many plosives in there, you just remember the name, you know? Now, this is none of my considerations when I first made it. Literally, it was just Alpaca Patrol. I heard it in my head, I liked it, so I did it. Anyway, what exactly you're planning to study work in the future? I don't know. I want to do stuff in gaming, so hopefully that. Is there a Miss Alpaca? No. No, there is not. There is no... Excuse me. Miss Alpaca, there has not been for quite some time. Have you ever been outside of the U.S.? And if yes, where and did you like it? I've been to Mexico twice, and I've been to Costa Rica once. Mexico, I went to Cancun, and I really, really disliked it. I feel like the government treated its people really, really poorly there. Like, going to Cancun, it was kind of fucked up. Like, for instance, there was... you know how in like New York City, right? They have like snazzy restaurants in hotels because that's what happens sometimes, right? Like sometimes people just go to hotels for the restaurants because they're really snazzy. They have a good cook, they have good chefs and stuff, and they don't allow people to go into the street. In Cancun, they don't allow Mexican people to go eat in the restaurants. They say it's restricted for only tourists. And stuff like that, like the transit system. There's like 3 roads or something that I was learning. That there was a military road for government officials. There was the tourist road, and then there was the local road. And the local road was just like fucking unkempt and dirt and just messed up. While the tourist road and the government road was good. It just kind of all threw me off. Costa Rica, I loved. That place is beautiful. I mean, it's not touristy at all. It's just open and pretty and untouched by man. When I was there, I went to a hotel on a mountain, and there was another mountain across the way that you could see, and there were there were some lights on the mountain because there were hotels there too. One time these horrible thunderstorms. There's a thunderstorm every night in Costa Rica because of the rain season, and the thunder that I heard was so loud. So deafeningly loud, and it shook the mountain. You just saw the other mountain across the way lose power. The mountain went dark, and it was crazy. It was insane. Like we were in like a sort of an outdoor cafe kind of area, except it had a roof. And you just see the rain falling down like waterfall. It was insane. It was beautiful too. And I saw a volcano erupt out there. I saw Mount Arenal. It was really cool. Really cool. And did you like school at all? Yes, like school a lot. I have a lot of problems with the education system in America. I don't know if the education system is a problem in other countries, but in America especially. Public education, by the way, I'd make it more clear. I have a lot of problems with it. I liked school for some reasons, not so much because of its educational purposes, unfortunately. But if I didn't go to school, I wouldn't be the social butterfly that I am today. In fact, maybe I wouldn't even make a channel if it weren't for school. Moving on to the next question. Ahiowafihodigit says, why no Crusader Kings 2 Let's Play? I don't know, I kind of got mixed results in the checkout video. Like, some people were like, yeah, I'd like a Let's Play, and like, kind of not. So I don't know, maybe I'll like do a one-part thing, and we'll see if people really like it or not. I don't really know. I like playing the game, so it would be fun. So, it's a possibility. It's a possibility in the near future, for sure. MK Lachu asks, how much does it cost for a pick of your beehole? $1 million. $1 million for a pic of my beehole. Anyone can offer to buy it if you want it on a shirt. That's $2 mil. And for a bill, you get to touch it. But the actual question is, haha, but really, since you mention it a lot, what got you into psychology, and what blog, websites do you read? You always have interesting things to say. What got me into psychology? Honestly, I've always been interested in psychology, and I've always had a thirst to learn about it. I had to learn on my own before college. But when I had the opportunity to take psychology in college, in my first year, I jumped at the chance because I wanted to learn what it actually was. I've always been interested by people. I think living in New York City, you're surrounded by people all the time, and a bunch of different people. Like there's a lot of variety. There's a lot of characters. A lot of observable people. This is the reason I wanted to act, even because I love observation. I love observing people and how they react to situations and how they are. It's sort of a voyeuristic way to look at the world. But like I said, I'm sort of introverted by nature, so I don't really like it. I like watching people as if they were through a screen or something. So learning about them with the learning the empirical data that we actually have was always really interesting to me. So I picked it up and I loved it, and I studied it, and it was great. It was a great time. I do want to do more psychology in the future. I want to potentially go back to school, get a degree in psychology. That would be really, really cool. I would like that. I don't know what I would do. If I had to do anything, it'd probably be a research psychologist. You could be an organizational psychologist, because that's where the real money is, but also it's fucking soul-sucking. Organizational psychology is like evaluating workers on whether or not they are productive enough to stay at the company and stuff like that. Yeah, you don't want to do that. But there's a lot of money in it. That's where all the money in psychology is. So, oh, and also marketing and all that, you know. They need organizational psychologists on that side of things because, you know, like I've said this many times, the only people who actually respect psychology and use it are businesses and marketers. The common people generally just, they think it's like a quack act, and meanwhile they're using psychology to sell you things. And likely probably trying to sell you that psychology is stupid. And blogs, websites, honestly, I read a lot of Reddit. That's what I read now. I read Reddit. It's just a news aggregate site. It's good. I like a lot of different subreddits. I read a lot of gaming blogs and news sites and stuff. I like a lot of them. My favorite probably is Rock Paper Shotgun. They have a really fun atmosphere there. I like them. And then I like a lot of the gaming websites, and I read those a lot. But, you know, aside from that, basically Reddit and Wikipedia. I spend a lot of time on Wikipedia. Because, you know, Wikipedia is like you look at one thing, and then there's something to click, and it's like, well, I should probably learn about that. 4 hours later, you are just, like, deep into string theory, and you have no idea where you started. So, anyway. Moving on. This is so long. If you could change your YouTube name, what would you change it to? I don't know, llamas suck maybe? Boom! Eat it! Eat it! Yeah! Anyway, moving on again. Oh, that was by 444 Codeman, by the way. And he has another question here. If you could change your oh no, whoops, sorry. 444 Codeman says, say you didn't build your channel around the Binding of Isaac, what do you think would have been your main series/game? I have no fucking clue, man. You know, honestly, if I didn't have the Binding of Isaac to do, I'd probably do something that's more along the lines of like Nick's channel, with indie impressions and stuff, where I just kind of do just various indie games, my impressions on them. Because, like I've said before, I did this initially because I wanted to do gaming journalism. And, you know, what Nick does is pretty much as close as you can get to being a gaming journalist on YouTube. So that's probably what I would have done more than anything else. If I had the knowledge then that I have now of how to interact with developers and find things on the internet, you know, then I would have probably done that if I didn't have Isaac to do. Alex Player 777, what were the games of your childhood? Zelda games, Nintendo. I was a Nintendo kid. That said, I probably spend more hours on like Counter-Strike and StarCraft and stuff than anything else. But I played a butt ton. I had a Super Nintendo, I had an N64, I had a GameCube. Basically every Nintendo system except for the Nintendo Entertainment System, the original one. And I just loved Nintendo games ever since I was a kid. And it's sad that the whole Nintendo debacle happened with YouTube, because it would have continued the Zelda series. There's probably I think there's a question of that later on. Anyway, let's keep it moving here. Christian Borst asks, these questions are ranked in level of importance. Feel free to ignore the shitty ones. I haven't been a sub very long, but you don't seem to have many interviews with devs. Do you not have many opportunities to do so? Is that something you'd like to pursue in the future? Yeah. Like the thing is, interviews usually I don't know. I've done interviews. I've done a few interviews. I think 2 or 3 now. It's not something that I just don't have the opportunity to do. It's something that I only do. I don't know. I don't know. I just like the first interview I did was for Super Smash Flash 2, which I was really pumped for, and I wanted to, and I was kind of like the exclusive coverage on the internet for Super Smash Flash 2 at the time, and I felt I needed to jump at the chance. I loved the game, and I still like the game a lot, obviously. I want to see where it goes. I've always loved Super Smash Brothers. I thought the game was very well done, and I thought that there was almost no coverage of it on the internet, so I figured I should do an interview. I did that. Paranautical Activity, I was playing Paranautical Activity on a stream one time, and Travis and Mike hopped on. We talked for a while, and then I was like, well, shit, we should do this in a formal way and put it on my channel. So we did an interview, and, you know, that's how that came about. You know, the thing is with interviews, you gotta write the questions beforehand, you have to interact with the developer. It's not something that I'm against doing, but a lot of times it doesn't necessarily have a lot of merit, perhaps, in the YouTube journalism scene as much. That said, I mean, that also could be a crock of shit. I don't know. I will do more in the future, for sure. I will. But it depends, really. You know, there's gotta be a reason to do one. You know what I mean? So, 2, why do YouTube? Well, the reason that I started this channel, like I said, is I wanted to go into gaming journalism. The requirements were really too high. It was just kind of silly, and you had to be basically a little like a water boy, like a bitch, to start out with, and then maybe you'll get some grunt work later on. And I didn't want to do that, so I wanted to get into the gaming field and do it on my own way, and I did YouTube. YouTube is a great place, is a great opportunity. For everyone, you know, it really is. It's something that's important for people who are trying to break it into this industry. So, you know, if the audience is there, why not use it? 3, is there a particular reason you say hello anybody versus any other greeting? Yeah, I would finish reading the question, but it's kind of long. Yeah, the reason that I say hello anybody is because back in the early days, I was like in my first few videos, I was like, "Hey everybody," or something, like in the really early days. I mean, like the first 5 videos or something, and it felt kind of weird because there was 10 people watching, and I was like, I mean, technically you're everybody, but I don't know. It seemed small, so I was like, "Hello anybody," because I always used to say, and I still say this: as long as anybody's watching, I'll keep making videos, because people would ask, "Are you going to keep making videos?" when they found me. People would ask that all the time, and I was like, yeah, I'll keep making videos. So I said, if anybody's watching, I'll make videos, and, you know, that's true. I've stuck with that, and, you know, today, I'm still making videos, I'm still saying hello anybody. It sort of just became a tradition, that no one remembers because there are not many people around from those early days. But, you know, it's kind of my intro, my brand, like my outro. It kind of stuck around from the early days. It kind of evolved naturally. I didn't just, force it and make it up or anything. It just kind of came with it, and then I kept saying it and just kept doing it. And I think it's nice to have an intro sometimes, that people can recognize and you know, poke fun at. So I have a good time doing that. 3203, are you Adolo? Oh my god. Aldo Soto asks, are you gay or straight? I don't know. Am I? I feel like it's funny to me to not answer that question, because it shouldn't matter, right? Like that's how I feel about it. Is I feel like it shouldn't matter, so I feel like leaving it in the dark. Why not? I don't have a I don't really have the inclination to have to answer that. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's a thing I want to maybe take a stance and say that shouldn't matter. Are you watching? I understand it's just curiosity. I'm not like angry at you, Aldo Soto, by the way, if you're watching. I realize it's just a curiosity thing for people. Although I think I've made it pretty clear in a lot of videos how I don't know. I feel like in a lot of videos you could tell if I'm into boobies. You know, but whatever. It doesn't matter. I'll just not. Anyway, 3312. Sorry, I'm calling out these numbers. These are just when I ask the questions so that I could, you know, type it in later. Anyway, Maljo Studios asks, who do you subscribe to on YouTube? I subscribe to a lot of people on YouTube. I actually have like 150 subscriptions or something like that. I have a lot. Oh, hold on. Excuse me. I must take a sip of delicious cola. Oh, yeah, that's good. Anyway, in all honesty, the guy that I've watched for a long time was Husky Starcraft. I watched him in the early days when he was casting the StarCraft 2 beta, because I was so fucking pumped for that game. And he was like the only one doing coverage that I liked, and I still like him today. So I watched him on YouTube. I've watched him for a long time, and then I found Northern Lion. I really liked watching him. I watched so many hours of his videos. And you know, eventually I decided, hey, shit, I could do this too. I like these guys, and they're not doing anything that's too out of my realm of possibility, I feel. So, you know, why not try it out for myself? And I did, and here I am. So, you know. Yeah, but I subscribe to Husky Starcraft. I like his off channel where he just plays some video games. He's got some good Let's Plays of like StarCraft 1 and Brood War and Warcraft 3. They're really fun to watch because there aren't many out there on the internet. So those are fun, and I watch those. Those are good. Those are good, and obviously Northern Lion and stuff. But those are just the main guys that I've watched a lot of. But I like a lot of other people. So you know, that's a fun time. The Storm7543 asks, I'm sure many others will agree, but most of my favorite videos were the ones in which, is which a place? Is which a person? Were we inside of the witch? I'm just messing with you. You talk about psychology. So my question is, what sparked your interest in psychology? I guess I already answered that, so, you know, go back in the video. Sorry, that's my own fault. Mr. Widzy asks, if you were president of the USA, what would be the first thing you'd do? Do alpacas have any form of hatred for llamas or camels? For president of the USA, the first thing that I would do is start shifting the budget towards education. Because right now, it's completely underfunded. It's completely unused and unutilized, and I would change it. I would change things so that we spend more money instead of. It just kind of pains me to be in the United States and always seeing like, oh well, we need to do budget cuts, and it's like, all right, fine, you need to do budget cuts. That's fine. But the first thing that they cut is education. Every time. They always cut education. And it just doesn't make any fucking sense. It's so short-sighted. Yeah, you make more money in the short term, but you lose in the long term by a lot. And it destroys generations of people. And it's fucked up. I mean, honestly, this generation would be so fucked up educationally if it weren't for the internet. Because the internet is a goddamn beautiful invention. It is the Library of Alexandria at your fingertips, and you get to learn whatever you need to learn whenever you want to learn it. So you have a whole generation of autodidacts, and that's probably in part due to the education system being so flawed. And do alpacas have any form of hatred towards llamas and camels? No, not so much, but except if they act a little uppity. When llamas and camels start thinking that they're superior, then we'll have a problem. But as for, you know, just in general, not so much. Pancake Wookie asks, do you have a specific name for your viewers, like the Alpacarians or alpacas? You know, that's up to you guys, honestly. I feel like it's kind of condescending for me to assign a name to you guys. I always felt like it seemed so weird for me to do. Like, I watched this one video where the guy's like, hey, what's up, my cronies? And it's just like, dude, don't just make a name for people and there's people watching. I don't know. It just feels weird. It just feels weird to me. If you guys want to assign a name for yourselves, by all means, go right ahead. I've taken to just calling you guys family because that's basically what you are. I also hate calling people fans because I don't think anything that I do is deserving of fandom, fanaticism. So, you know, I don't like saying that either. So you're just family. We are together here, the Alpaca Patrol family, and I like that. I like it the way that is. Moving on, Mistinheim asks, when are you going to finish Twilight Princess? Dude, I would love to finish Twilight Princess. The thing is, the whole Nintendo dealio happened, which is basically Nintendo started content ID matching a bunch of people for their Nintendo content and saying that your channel will be in poor standing, copyright-wise. I can't afford to do that with my channel, so I don't want Nintendo to know about the Let's Play series. I can't continue it either after they've started this, so it sucks, but it's basically Nintendo. Nintendo basically copyright struck everything on YouTube, Nintendo-based content. So, you know, that's why I should make a formal video, and I probably will soon. It's taken me way too long to make a formal video explaining that. I just was under the impression that everybody had heard about it, but obviously not everyone is so savvy on everything that happens behind the scenes with YouTube. You know, obviously for very good reason. Antimatter Dynamite asks, how old are you? Do you think going to theater class made you a better Let's Play in any way? I'm 22. Am I 21? I'm 22. I'm 22. And do I think theater class made me a better Let's Player in any way? I don't know. Honestly, I didn't... The thing about acting... This is how I feel about it. The thing about acting is you don't really need to learn it. There's some stuff that's good to learn, for sure. There's some things that's good to learn. But I went to 4 years of acting school, and in 4 years of acting school, the majority of what you did is just played games and fucked around. And the truth is, you don't really need to learn that shit. Like, it's kind of nice, I guess, but I don't know. At the very least, it was fun. I don't know if it made me a better Let's Player. There were some important rules that I learned. I learned the International Phonetic Alphabet. I learned... had a juggle, which is obviously great for Let's Plays. No, I learned a bunch of shit. I learned how to enunciate better, perhaps, which I think is important. Diction is a very, very important thing. It's a thing that sort of separates, perhaps... It separates good from great, maybe, in, like, Let's Plays and stuff like that. I think diction is very important. And I think in that way, theater class, which helped me with my diction, was good, for that. So, I don't know. Now, Cameron Steele asks, how did you meet Green Cam, etc.? By the way, did you know etc. is spelled E-T-C-E-T-E-R-A? I didn't even know that was like that for a long time in my life. Anyway, how did I meet Green Cam? Okay, so initially, I met Austin because we were both at, like, I think, like, 400 or 300 subscribers at the time. We were both playing Isaac. I always saw him in my suggested videos and stuff. And I figured, you know, why not ask for a collaboration? I followed Northern Lion's, like, tutorial on how to be a Let's Player, which is very helpful, by the way, on Reddit. And, you know, he said collaborations are some of the most important things into getting successful on YouTube. I mean, shit, look at all of our collaborations on NLSS and with each other's channels. I mean, that's doing great wonders for all of our channels. All you guys get to see all those other people through all of us, which is great. You know, collaborations. It's splitting audiences, not splitting audiences, but sharing audiences, which is good. You know, it's a good thing. So I figured I'd do a collaboration. I contacted him. He said yes. We did races. Eventually, I found Green because I saw him in my related videos, so I contacted him. I did a head-to-head with him and Zen at one point. So we all met up. Cam, however, I lived with him. I went to film school, and when I went to film school, he was my dorm mate, roommate. Dorm mate, whatever. He lived in a really shitty apartment building, so it's basically a roommate. Yeah, I met Cam like that, and then I didn't go back. He went back to school. I didn't talk to him for like maybe a year. Maybe like I kind of talked to him a little bit off and on, but and then he started coming on Skype, and you know, I invited him to play games with me, and now he does that, which is good. And so yeah, we just all kind of met up naturally through that. I basically initiated contact with all those people. So, you know, it's all led to some beautiful things, I feel. So, you know, Vift King asks, is this question good enough for you to answer? Yes. Conchola 3 asks, what you gonna do with all that junk? All that junk inside your trunk. I'm gonna get you drunk. Yeah. Rob, what color are your beautiful eyes? Hashtag butter jail asks Blue Night Light 04. My eyes are brown. They're not a very interesting color. I wish they were like blue or something. That'd be cool. Or like green, something like that. My mom has green eyes. I don't know why I didn't get green eyes. My dad has brown eyes, so that's probably why. Kind of sucks, but you know. Maybe I'll have. People have said that I have nice eyelashes. However, because they're somewhat long. So you know that's a thing. But I have brown eyes. Anyway, moving on. Ratin Horge asks, are you aware of the protests in Brazil and the police brutality towards it? What's your opinion about it? What do you think about the people protests need to be violent or peaceful? Thanks, Alpaca. Much love. I think it's always important to be peaceful during protests. Because that's what you have. That's what you have as sort of your weapon, versus accusations of rioters or unruly or you know unrespectable. You have to be peaceful, and you have to basically take the hits right now because that's just how the media portrays everything. So that's the thing. To the question specifically about Brazil, I'm obviously on the side of the protesters. I mean, they have reason to be upset. In a lot of ways, I'm pretty much always on the side of the protesters. People don't go into a crowd and protest for nothing. That just doesn't happen. So if someone has a problem so much so that they want to sacrifice their days, sacrifice their nights, sacrifice their bodies sometimes, in order to make sure some change happens, then they're probably in the right. Obviously, there's exceptions, but, you know, I am definitely on the side of the Brazilians. Hashtag change Brazil. 4450. Oh, god damn it. That's not. McCouple asks, if we comment on a month-old video, is there likelihood you would see it? I want to say yes, but the truth is probably not. And the problem is, I used to respond to every single comment that I would get on old videos, on new videos. The thing is, there's a lot of comments daily now. Not so much that it would be impossible for me to respond to them all, but it would take 3 hours. After a point, it was taking me an hour and a half to 2 hours to respond to every single comment. And that was just taking up a lot of my day. So I couldn't anymore. The thing is, YouTube's inbox system is really shitty. There's a way for me to see that you've commented on old videos, but it's through the inbox system, and when you have like more than 100 in your inbox, which I do, I have like 300 in my inbox, it's pretty much unusable, which is shitty because it's just an unusable system, which I would love to use, but, you know, can't. So, you know, unfortunately, not so much, despite the fact that I would very much love to. Mr. J-Man asks, hey Rob, here's my question for you. Did you meet some really famous actors when you went to theater school? Or somebody that's actually become pretty famous? Yeah, 2 people actually, well, actually 3 people really. The third person, you know, I don't really remember them so much. I didn't really talk with them so much. But yeah, my friend Jeremy Allen White is on Shameless, the US version on Showtime. I would suggest you check it out. It's a fun time. It's a good show, really. It has William H. Macy on it. Yeah, and he's been in a lot of things. He was in that movie 43, which looked pretty bad, but he was in that. And yeah, he's on the rise as an actor. He's probably going to be a pretty famous actor in the future. That's what I foresee anyway. I think he's got a good future ahead of him. And he's a young guy too. I mean, you know, really actors kind of go into their prime 25 to 29, like any prime, really. So, you know, he's probably going to be famous in the future, which is really cool. So, you know, Jeremy, he's a cool guy. Another famous person that I know, Azealia Banks. I went to school with her. She was a cool girl. She, if you look up Azealia Banks, she's a rapper, hip-hop artist. She's a fucking amazing voice when she sings. She's really dirty, like her, not as like she's not like homeless or anything, but I mean like she's just, her rhymes are extremely filthy. But she's good. I actually really like her. I don't know what she's doing so much anymore. She had sort of a pump into the spotlight, and then she had some beef with like Lil Wayne or something. And then people got mad at her, or something like that. I don't know what happened to her now, but she, yeah, so she's pretty famous, and she'll probably be famous in the future as well. So that's cool. Azealia Banks, look her up. She's a cool lady. So, yeah, anyway. Phantom Alchemist asks, can we expect more podcasts over the summer because it may be easier if we get you all together, or is it completely dead? I would love to. I really would love to. I love doing the podcast. I want it back. But, you know, sometimes, you know, the conflicts get in the way. It's hard to get everybody together. I would love to do it. I've heard interest from the other members as well. I would very much like it. But, you know, we'll just have to see. Maybe. That's the, I could give you a definite maybe. Is the best that I can really give in all likelihood. Chimasanya asks, what would you do if you were offered a position as a video games journalist? I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say. Would I stop YouTube is probably the really biting thing in the question, I think, or the undertone, the subtext. I don't know. I don't think so. It depends. Like, if someone offers me, like, lead editor or editor-in-chief of Polygon, yeah, I'd probably leave YouTube and do that. But if it was just, like, a writing spot and they said I have to end YouTube, I probably wouldn't do it. It's sort of like that the movie, The Social Network, right? It's like, like Mark Zuckerberg didn't want to put ads on until he knew what it was yet. It's like, right now it's cool, and with ads it's not cool. So I want to see what happens in the future. Basically, that's I don't want to give up on this until I know what I'll be, and I don't know that yet. So, you know, it would be interesting. It would be an interesting proposition. I might take a job like that, but you know, it would really depend on the job and the situation and all that. And the last question from Unoperated. Not trying to insult you in any way, but why does your voice crack so often? Is there a particular reason? I talk a lot. I talk a whole lot. I talk a lot in videos. I talk a lot on streams. I talk all the time, so my voice is kind of always exhausted. You know, it's something that you don't really anticipate, or not necessarily anticipate, but maybe believe from hearing it from people on YouTube or radio show guys or casters and esports. Obviously, what I do is not like casting an esports game. That must be hell on your voice. But it really hurts. I mean, it kind of, your voice gets kind of all kinds of fucked up by talking a lot, and especially enunciating a lot. And actors too is another thing. You have to really be careful with your voice. Singers too. You have to be very careful because it's really easy to throw your voice out by using it too much. It's a muscle like anything else. So if you overuse it, you pretty much, you can fuck it up real bad too. You can really hurt yourself. And considering, the voice is the money machine, which is not really at all. but you know what I'm saying, right? I mean, the voice is the most important thing in Let's Plays and stuff. You gotta be careful sometimes. But yeah, that's pretty much why my voice cracks a lot of the time. It's exhausted a lot of the time. So yeah, anyway, this has been AlpaQ&A. This is fucking way longer than I wanted it to be. Like, so much longer. I don't know, maybe I'll split it up into 2 parts or something. Man, I don't know. I don't know. I'll probably split it up into 2 parts. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what people want. What you want as far as length is concerned. This is way too long, I feel. I don't think people want something like this. Whatever. Anyway, we'll see. Let me know down in the comments if you got to this point. If you got to this point, then, post your questions down below, and I will respond to probably the most upvoted ones, but also the ones that I like I did here. In the next AlpaQ&A, whenever that may be, potentially 2 weeks from now, potentially a month from now. I'm not really sure. Yeah, post your questions, and I will respond to them in kind. So please do so. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I don't know if you really like this AlpaQ&A. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't. Maybe this is too fucking long. I don't know, man. We'll find out, I guess. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I love you all. You're good people. It's really hot in my room. When you record for over an hour in the summertime, it gets hot in your room. Anyway, this is Alpaca Patrol signing out. Peace, fools.